It happens every night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer.
What's going on, everybody?
Summer heat never treats me kind.
Let me know if it sounds good, bad, otherwise. What's up, guys? Come out. Here we go. Y'all sing.
This highway does not know my name, and I don't care. No,
Sure don't care. Do not care.
headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Here we go right here.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low. The lowest of the low. Budget. Live. What's up, you low life and son of a guns? You're actually here with me. Let's do the damn thing. How are you? I'm saying, y'all, oh, yeah, you can wait on Darian. I see that coming in from Big Lance right there. He says, what's up, Luke? Was watching Darian, but that can wait. What's going on, guys? I am proud to be here with you. 55,000 already watching on LBL, and I'm scrolling back up through the comments. What's up, everybody? I'm seeing San Diego, Bruce Smith. What's up? I'm seeing David Field saying, what's up? Little O-B, O-L-O-B. The low-lifers are in the house, and I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. What's up, Elijah? What's up, Larry Corley? You did make it on time. Cranking. Cowley. What's up, guys? Already more viewers in a minute than stupid. What's up, Bailey? Than stupid Darren. Yeah, 64,000. 64,000. Thank y'all for being here. I am pretty pumped tonight. We're so about 8:30, we've got a special call-in guest that is kind of a long time in the making for me on the show. The guys from the National Professional Fishing League. It's a long name. But it's a new tournament organization. They're trying to get the dang thing going, and they've reached out to me several times, and we've tried to line it up. We haven't been able to do that yet, and Al McCullough, that is the owner, reached out to me this week, said, hey, man, I'd like to get on. And as we get closer to 2021, which is when they say they're launching their deal, I got some questions. For them. So we got Paul Benson coming on at 8:30 p.m. So if you got some questions for the National Professional Fishing League, not Major League Fishing, not Bassmaster, not FLW, the new kid on the block, trying to do some tournaments next year. We will. They're coming on. I think they may be making some angler announcements. I don't know, but they reached out. They've reached out a few times, and I want to have them on. So we're going to ask them some questions, and I've got, and you guys can pop up in the comments. I don't know if the timing is right now for another tournament trail. We'll see and see how it goes. But going to have those guys on at 8:30. So we got a little bit. I'm gonna go to the questions right here because I already got one. Said, listen to LBL Fishing. Not sure if I'm going to catch them all or get skunked. You might get skunked if you have a week like I had this week. Damn, them fish beat up on me this week. What's going down with them? Nick Boggs says, what's up with the Kool-Aid man behind me? I've told the story on LBL before, but I'll tell it again just because I love it. The Kool-Aid man, believe it or not, back in November, I was leaving my grandfather's funeral in a funeral procession, and we went by a dang pawn shop, right? Only in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. But we go by the pawn shop, leaving the funeral home, and this beautiful creature right back here, Kool-Aid man, it was sitting on the dang corner of the street, and I had a fit. I was like, I gotta have that. I told the triple threat, gotta have that. Well, I went back a couple weeks later to buy it, and it was gone. And I was so bummed out, man. And I looked on eBay because I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I drank Kool-Aid like everybody as a kid, and the dang thing stands like 3 feet tall. I don't know how well y'all can see it back there, but I loved it. And my dad, Marty D, on Christmas, wrapped the thing up in a big cardboard box and gave it to me. So he had heard me talk about it, went and bought it, Really cool. So it's real special. The Kool-Aid Man will never, it's actually like some kind of store display, but that's the deal with the Kool-Aid Man behind me. I feel like I have to throw that out there. The Low Budget Live Bar and Grill here, where we're doing Low Budget Live from, is not decorated that great yet. We're getting I got a few odds and ends that you can't see on the camera, but we're rocking and rolling. Rider Man's drum kit over here, which I cannot play. I've got my electric guitars set up over here in the corner. You can't see them, and we have a good time up here in the LBL Bar and Grill. What's up, Barry Price? You got to shake the Startron. Jacob, you missed that in the very beginning. You always got to shake your Startron. And big thanks to Startron for bringing y'all Low Budget Live. Going into the second year. Damn, are we almost to 3 years? I don't know. I got to check into that. I don't know when we started doing this. The Forestwood Cup, I guess it was 18 that we did it. No, it was 17. It was the year Justin Atkins, my little buddy Justin once. Dang, it's almost 3 years of Low Budget Live. Holy crap. We're hitting some milestones. So thanks to Startron. Those guys have been with us and they support this and they make all of this possible. I will assure you of that. What is up with what's up all you low-lifers? 81,000 right here. Caleb Morgan coming in. What's up with the LBL hat and am I doing apparel? So this is going to make me feel bad. And if you're on here, sir, I have absolutely lost your name and contact from the Classic. So I had a very nice man and his sons, and it has slipped my mind, but they had these hats made for the Low Budget Live at the Classic and brought me this hat. They wore them all night. It was awesome. And I'm thinking about having some made up, but it's LBL Low Lifer right there. You can see it. And I'm just keeping it on the bar now, man. I try to keep anything. It's like the butterfly that Brandon Polnick sent me after my mom passed. I like to keep stuff up here, you know? Just really cool. So y'all hit me up. You want some LBL gear? We'll get some made. I'm working on some shirt designs and some different things, but yeah, some very, very kind people brought me that to the Classic, and that's why it sits there. Just like my man Justin Lear got me the Tennessee state made out of tobacco steaks. It's hanging over here on the wall. Brought that to me at the Classic, and all that kind of stuff. Special, very special to me. What's going on? When are you going to do a video of the new LBL bar? I need to do that. I do need to do a video of the bar and grill. I'm waiting until I get it a little more situated. So when all this Corona craziness happened, I was so on the other side of this, it's split into two, and Harper, Triple Threat's daughter, who y'all have seen on the podcast, she has an apartment on the other side of this, and everything was kind of going good, and then Corona hit, and she had to come home from college, so she had to move out of her dorm, so we got crap everywhere in here. So I'll do a video when we kind of get straightened up. She goes back to school in a month or so, and we'll get a video tour of this place. I'm very proud of it. It's awesome. It's an awesome spot to get to do this. Hey, Luke, how about getting Ryan Salzman on one of the shows? I would love to. I like Ryan. I'm a Ryan Salzman fan. Good dude, great fisherman. Let's see here. Going through these comments. Did I get Goose calmed down? Goose is my 125-pound white lab. No, Goose is never calmed down, sir. Brad, Goose is never calmed down. So we got fishing back, guys. We got fishing back. I know the world is crazy. I addressed that last week. With everything going on, it is very intense right now. It is absolutely mind-blowing, really, what's going on in the country in a lot of places. And it's just we need things to settle down between the Corona and all of the rioting and different things. It's just, man, it's such an odd time. But for us in our little corner of the world, and 101,000 of us watching right now, hanging out with me at the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill, fishing is back, and we got a little taste of it last week with the 2 weeks ago with the Toyota Series down on Pickwick, and then we got another little nugget this week. We got a Toyota Series down at Eufaula, which was more of a local tournament, with the exception of my boy Brian New, but it was kind of a local deal, and they caught some biggins down there though, but they only had 87 boats. Wasn't a big field. So you didn't have those big names like you did at Pickwick. Obviously, those guys were down at Toho, getting ready for the MLF. But man, I hope I'm saying his name right, but shout out to Joshua Strassner on winning that thing, and he is apparently like the Eufaula freaking GOAT right now. There were several of those guys in that. Scott Montgomery, Ryan Ingram is old school Eufaula. My boy Michael Smith smashed 25 pounds a day the first 2 days, and then looked like he just kind of ran out of some fish. But craziness, man, down there at Eufaula, which is, if it's any indicator of what we got going into this first Elite Series back this week, which starts on Wednesday, the Bassmaster Elite down there, I think it's going to be some big weights, because I think it'll only improve. You know, the fishing will probably get a lot better as those fish get out there, even more on those ledges and in those brush piles. I think that'll be pretty dang awesome. So that was a cool tournament to keep up with this week. I had some friends in that, so it was fun to keep up with. But today we got, and I'm seeing some comments here. Did you watch Zach Burge wreck them today? And I did, and I gotta say, hats off to old Burge, because I got to watch some of it today, and he freaking smashed. What's up, Justin Lear? Yeah, he absolutely smashed today. It was really cool. If you didn't get to see it, and I was going to try to have him on, but I already had Paul lined up for tonight from the NPFL, and so hopefully Burge will win the tournament. We can have Burge on next week, but I actually was texting back and forth with Zach yesterday a little bit, and so cool to see. It was a unique deal, a current deal way up this little creek in this backwater deal. Very, 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 very cool to watch. And Brent Ayler dropped bombs like an 8.6. Justin Lucas caught an 8.3. How would you like to catch an 8.3 and get beat by an 8.6 when that can win you 25 grand? That was kind of a bummer, I'm sure, for Justin. And then the coolest story today for me, just because I'm an old school dude, John Murray wrecked. He had like 7 that weighed, or 6 that weighed like 27 or something. It was crazy, or 28, 29, whatever it was. And he caught 2 identical 713s off of the same spots, but they weren't the same fish because of the markings, like he showed it. But he caught 2 that weighed 713. It was really cool. So I got to watch a little bit of it. You know, my thing is this. There's always something that I get disgruntled with watching Bass Pro Tour, and today it wasn't anything to do with the fishing, other than I do get tired of the anglers feeling like they're like defending it or whatever. They're like, only with Major League Fishing, baby. And those kind of comments drive me nuts. They went to Dean Rojas one time, and he's like, can't believe I'm fishing for this kind of money, only with MLF. And it is a cool event. I'll give them that. It is a cool event. But I just get tired of that, like, propaganda the whole time, right? But it is what it is. But the thing that got me today was Cliff Pace broke down momentarily. And he does not run a BPT sponsor motor. And whether this was consciously or subconsciously, I don't know on their part. But it is no secret that Yamaha's pulled out a lot. They don't sponsor as many guys that fish over there anymore and those kind of things. And the second he had engine trouble, they just put a camera on him in his boat, like with his cowl off, messing with the Yamaha. And it ended up not even being the motor. It was a throttle cable issue. And I just thought that was kind of like, you don't show that. Because if it was Mercury, they probably wouldn't have shown that. I don't think, in my opinion. That's just kind of like, we all know mechanical issues happen, but you don't want to just broadcast it out there. Not when you're paying a guy to fish. And, it's just one of those things that, I don't know. I didn't dig that as much. And I know some other folks didn't appreciate that, mainly Yamaha, I'm sure. But like I said, whether that was on purpose or inadvertent, and they went back to it a couple times, I don't know. Cliff wasn't, I think maybe he was leading big bass at the time when it happened, but I don't know. There's just always something that just kind of sours it for me. But it's definitely an interesting tournament. It was tough today, other than Burge, just absolutely crushing. Absolutely crushing. But other than that, it was kind of tough. You got Thrifty sneaking up there. It's going to be an interesting week, to say the least. All right, Kenny Wytek coming in. Who is my pick for the Elite Series next weekend? Man, this is a tough one. I made a Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing roster for you guys. Barry Price coming in with that too. Don't forget to make your fantasy team. I normally don't play fantasy fishing, and it's just because I forget. No other reason. And my man Justin Lear sent me a message today and was like, "Hey, you should talk about fantasy fishing." So we can jump into that before we get Paul on here. And I won't claim to be an expert at it at all, but I would say, what's up, Zachary Sharp from Knoxville? I will say that you better get some boys, them old boys from Alabama on your team down there. And I'm talking about, and I know that goes without saying, but you got the dang sorry, I just got distracted by an amazing comment. Justin Lear, I've learned MLF is best watched like a Dick Vitale announced basketball game. Muted. Yeah, I did see a clip from a show this week where that Chad guy said Bobby Lane having success with his topwater jig. And I thought that was funny. Somebody shared that. So, anyways, back to the fantasy fishing. You guys quit wrecking me in the comments. That's what you do. You get me off base. I got ADD, and we go off into left field. So, Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing. Yeah, so Kyle Welcher is popping up like crazy. I agree with you guys. That dude is apparently an absolute freaking fish catching son of a gun. And I think that he's a guy you got to have in there. I've seen Drew Cook pop up. Drew is right down the dang road. He is a Seminole ace. Him and Drew Benton both better be people that you're watching this week. But I'm telling you right now, just from my personal experience down there, a guy like Canterbury is very, 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 very scary. Guys like Matt Herron are very, very scary down there. Guys like Clint Davis have a wealth of knowledge, and Clint almost won an FLW, barely lost an FLW to Thrift down there a few years ago, this same time of year. So those guys are – my team is this. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I really don't even know how to do this, but hang on. Please hold, gang. So here's my team. I have Scott Canterbury, Drew Benton, Clint Davis, Chris Johnston, and Chris Zaldane. And let me break those picks down for you on why. So for me, Canterbury, just like I said, he is an Alabama freak of nature. You just can't pick against him in Alabama. And dude is freaking great, right? So then I got Drew Cook, who I've already said he's actually, take that back, Drew Benton, sorry. Drew Benton, who is Panama City, but man, he's a Seminole guy, Chattahoochee River, the next lake down from Eufaula. He's got a lot of experience on Eufaula. And my thing with Benton is this. A lot of the deep stuff will get a ton of attention. Benton is deadly in both places. So is Canterbury. And I think a guy this week in a 4-day event versus a 3-day, those fish just had their heads beat in by a lot of great locals, right? In that Toyota Series, Costa, Everstart, whatever it was, Toyota Series. So you may have to mix that shallow bite with a little deep, in my opinion. There were guys that caught them shallow that made the top 10 down there in that Toyota deal. So then I go into Group C. I got Clint Davis. I've fished with Clint. He is great with his electronics. He is really, really good all around Alabama. He's really good on that lake, but he's almost won there before, like I said. So he's really good with a worm offshore of those brush piles. So that's why I picked Clint. Chris Johnson, I'm never going to pick against either one of them boys, but I'm just picking Chris this week instead of Corey. Sorry, Corey. Still love you, buddy. But those two guys are just amazing with their electronics. They're so freaking precise in finding fish, and they work together. And I think there's going to be a lot of graphing to find a lot of brush piles because obviously you can't get information, you can't get waypoints, and those two together are going to be a terror. Absolutely going to be a terror. Okay, so one of those two, I'm picking Chris just because, Corey, I'm sorry. We do need to do that. Kenny Wytech suggesting, be neat if we could do an LBL group. We need to do that. Before the next event, remind me, we'll do that. And then last but not least, of course, I got Chris Zaldane. And here's why. Same thing. Great with Humminbird 360. Great with his graphs. Dude, he just gets it, man. And I feel like it's those 12, 13 hours days graphing. That guy right there is always going to be in the mix. He can drop shot, maybe catch some of those, finesse some of those fish that have seen everything under the sun this week and will continue to. So you got to watch a guy like that. Landon Tucker, you make a great point. He's saying Steve Kennedy will be hard to pick against. I had a hard time not putting him in this top 5. Kennedy is a West Point Lake guy, which is the next lake up on the chain. He owns West Point Lake. Might as well, him and his dad. But there's so many great fishermen, and it's hard to pick. I see one coming in. You got no G-Man. Look, I can't. That's a heart pick. You got to try to pick with your sense. You got to use your mind, folks. You can't go. It's like I don't always bet for the Tennessee Vols. You just can't. You go with your heart, you get beat. Now, I think G will have a good tournament. He went down there and put some time in, and when it comes to these kind of pure offshore tournaments, he's as good as anybody offshore. He's just like me, and I feel like he gets distracted by some bank grass, and he'll be up there swimming a jig too. So I think he'll be right there at the end of the week. But I didn't pick him. Sorry, G. Still love you. Still miss you. Love you, miss you, buddy. What's up, Ron? Hope you're doing well, friend. Thank you for stopping in. Landon Tucker making another great point. How did Mega Clint Davis win the Ford Swift Cup? He won on deep brush piles. I actually fished with him as a co-angler. I was co in 2015 on Lake Ouachita where he won the cup and drew him, and he was doing the same thing, fishing brush piles, and he absolutely blew my mind with some of the stuff he was doing that day, fishing deep brush piles. So Clint, I think Clint will do well this week. If you pick those guys and you don't do good, just don't let me know about it, okay? Oh, so there you go, fantasy fishing. I think that's fun. This is the first time I've ever really messed with it. So thanks to Justin Lear for suggesting that. I know some of you other guys have. You also have to consider how many other players are picking a particular angler. The key is to find high level that aren't picked as free. You're right about that. Yeah, so I am not good at the game yet. And I know Ronnie Moore does his podcast about this and all that. I'm just talking from an angler standpoint. I don't know all the rules yet to this. So thank you for dropping that comment in there. I may get you all beat because I don't know, but I've got my team set. It is what it is. And I picked 81 pounds and 2 ounces for the weight. So y'all remember that 81.2. So a little over 20 a day. We'll see if that holds up for 4 days. I just think coming off of this tournament, if they get dumped on with rain from Tropical Storm Cristobal, whatever it is, which is ravishing the Gulf Coast right now, I don't know what that'll change because Eufaula is not far from that general area where that thing's going to come on shore. So I don't know if they're going to get a lot of rain. I haven't looked at the forecast. It could change a lot of things. So I'm sticking with kind of 20 a day, 20-ish a day. For sure. Saw somebody comment this, and I didn't realize this until today. Go back up here so I can give you credit. Forget where it was at. But on the top 10 round right there, Bailey, on the top 10 round for BPT, the Bass Pro Tour, they're going to a 3-pound minimum, and I think that is going to be interesting. To say the least, because there weren't a lot of 3-pounders caught today. I mean, it is Florida, and it is tough. There's some guys down there some local guys that crush them this time of year, but man, they really are dialed, and you got guys coming in from out of town. They only got 2 days practice. They got crappy weather. It's really hard to get that dialed in. They, guys like Burge, he really did a great job today. I'm anxious to see what they do tomorrow with a little bit different weather, different group of guys out there, and then it'll all kind of, the picture will get a little clearer after all these qualifying rounds are over with. But, yeah, 3-pound minimum. And the biggest fish in that top 10 round wins $100,000, and the winner of the tournament wins $100,000. They're giving away a lot of money. A lot of money. Going to be some low weight tomorrow coming in from Doug Atkins. Doug, I wouldn't doubt it, man. I wondered, this one was very interesting to me, and we talked about it with Ish, and we talked about it with Justin Atkins. We don't see a professional level event in Florida in the summertime. We don't. And it's not your typical kind of deal where they're going to be deep and you're going to be deep cranking and like you see on the Tennessee River and football jigging and current, other than Burge, who found him a little current today. And let's see right here. Tomorrow will be interesting on MLF with the local hammers. That's right. You got basically all the Florida dudes tomorrow, Big Show and Chris and Bobby, those guys that know that Lake West going to be. I'm anxious to see what they do on that lake in the summer. I think it'll be cool to see how that shakes out. But yeah, it was pretty low weight overall though, and I think like 11 pounds or whatever might be 20th. I don't know. I forget what it ended up being, but it was low. It was low, and like Van Dam blasted a big one earlier. We had 3 for 17, which is awesome, but he only caught 3 all day long. Yeah, it was called Heavy Hitters Can't Be a Deep Fest. After all, these are the best anglers. No, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, it was originally this was going to be a qualification deal, and then they voted to have everybody there. I think everybody gets a check. It's a good event. I just wish they would have had more and not done the FLW Tour thing. But which the guys, they pushed that a little bit today, talking about that. The commentators, it is what it is. But yeah, it's called Heavy Hitters for a reason, and they're here's the thing. I don't get into the whole, y'all know this, I'll say this again. I don't get into the whole Dink Fest thing. I just don't. I don't get into that because those guys smash them. They freaking catch them very, very, very much so everywhere they go. Other than like a Table Rock, and that is a Dink Fest, but that lake's full of little ones. They had a good day, looks like, but like you and several others, I can't stand the only in MLF stuff. Yeah, Kenny coming in with a great, only in MLF, they can't get all their free tournaments in. Yeah, I don't like the propaganda. I don't want to have to, I never one time remember being on the FLW tour, have a camera around you or anybody and being like, boom, catch one and go, only in FLW does that happen. I just don't remember that. And you get guys that say that kind of thing about the Classic and things like that, but it is that kind of drives me crazy. It is what it is. And look, I just don't like the fact that they got to defend it. Just go with it. If you love it and it's great, just go with it. I was just glad to see fishing. I didn't care what brand it was. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Look, y'all know my history with the big wigs there. But hell, I enjoyed it. I watched it. It was, I actually set my butt by the swimming pool and watched a lot of it today and burned up in the heat, but it was fun. I like Zach Burge a lot. It was fun watching Zach and, rail on them, and Jordan Lee caught them. And it was a good time. It was a good time. After this year, they're all going to want to be back at Bass coming in from Nicholas Bowen. There's a lot of them that want to come back right now. I have no doubt. Have no doubt about that. And I think that anybody that tells you any different is probably not telling you the truth. On some of these guys, like I've said before, that aren't going to fish the FLW Super Tournaments. We'll see. There's a reason they didn't. And I had a guy, fishes BPT, on the phone with me this week that said that. He's like, well, you know why they're not fishing. They're just saying otherwise. That's why, The Classic is a classic. It can do that. It's the GOAT. Yes, it is the GOAT. The Classic is the GOAT, and next year's Classic is going to be a lot of dang fun. Many will want to, but won't be qualified to re-enter. Yeah, so that's an interesting situation. Guys that want to get out of MLF, if there are a few, and I think there are, you got 2 ways. You can either go back through the Opens, or you can take a Legends exemption, and there are only a few of those that are eligible for that Legends exemption. And I think you have to have been an AOY or a Classic winner to get that. And, there's not, those aren't a dime a dozen, right? So it's going to be hard. There you go. Some may go to the National Professional Fishing League, and that's what we're going to ask when Mr. Paul calls us in 2 minutes. We're going to pick his brain about that. We're going to pick his brain. about that. Thank y'all for hanging in here. 123,000. Kenny Wytech, can't wait for the Opens to start back up. That is the most interesting circuit at the moment, in my opinion, with the huge names trying to cut their teeth and get to bass. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that with Scott Martin and Castledine and Upshaw and Hallman and a lot of these guys that left and went over there. I think those tournaments are very interesting. Nick Boggs, are you drinking super tea to prep for the super tournaments? You know what? It had to be mixed with vodka for me to want to be fishing them 206 boat super tournaments. Agree. Bass needs to do live on YouTube. They're doing the Bassmaster Opens are going to be live, but just on their website. I do agree. They do need a YouTube angle. So if you're listening, folks at Bass, get your YouTube life right. Mark Randolph in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mark Randolph, the official, the OG official, the referee of all referees when it comes to fishing for Ultimate Match Fishing. And right now we got, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mr. Paul Benson. What's up, Paul?
What's happening, Luke? How are you?
I'm good, buddy. I am very good. We're joined by royalty right now in the comments. Mark Randolph, the Mark Randolph, Ultimate Match Fishing, just dude that's going to blow the whistle and get you in trouble every time, has joined us in the comments right before you called, and I was kind of geeking out like a fanboy, and then you called in, Paul.
There you go. Well, I want to thank you first and foremost for having us on to drop some new participants in the league. Thank you for your support. Thank you for what you do for the industry. Keeping it real nowadays is a tough thing to do, and you manage to do it well.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad we could finally get up with each other to get you guys on here. And I was talking a little bit about you guys and in the beginning of the show, and turn Mark up. This is Paul, not Mark. Mark's in the comments, guys. I've got him about pegged there on the volume, guys. Y'all tell me if y'all can hear him. Can hardly hear him, they're telling me. Hang on a second. Let me get you turned up here. I can hear you great, Paul. You sound like $1 million bucks.
I can shout.
You can shout. Hang on a second. I think I know what the issue is. It's low budget. Is that any better? Paul is quiet. Barely hear Paul. Dadgum. I got you pegged.
It could be deaf jokes too. There's a lot of comedians in the audience, I'm sure.
No, they're just all saying they can't hear you. Can y'all hear him now? Is it any better? Because I can hear him like he's sitting in the room with me. I don't know where it's getting lost in translation to the video. So we'll carry on with it, Paul. I've got, because this will go up as a podcast as well, and I'll keep trying to tinker with it here. I'm afraid I'm blowing their eardrums out with me now. I've got her pretty well cranked up, but you guys are absolutely way better. They're saying that's better. Good now. Okay, we're good. They can hear it. Thank y'all for helping me. Y'all are my producers. This is very low budget, obviously. So Paul's talking about everything just leading up to this, that it is a tough time, right? It is a very tough time, and I know you guys face a difficult task, right, in selling sponsorships and starting this thing from the ground up. And I've talked to you a little bit about this a couple times, and I know you've been on other shows, talking about the details of the thing. But you guys announced your first group of anglers, and but now I was on the website. Now you haven't answered any. You haven't announced any sponsors yet. Do we have some official sponsors?
When you say, do we have some official sponsors under contract, I'm going to be blunt and just say no.
Okay.
We have a lot of discussions. We had a lot of discussions slated for ICAST.
Okay.
With ICAST being canceled, some of those conversations are being rescheduled around certain dates and whatnot. We have not gone out and solicited a lot of the typical endemic type sponsorships that most would expect. Now we have had calls, requests for calls, things of that nature from various boat, motor, tackle, companies out there. We're not, we would be appreciative for all of it, but we are not proactively chasing a lot of that right this second. We're getting the getting the angler situated, getting the format, if you say, related to live streaming, television, things of that nature, situated, and then we're going to sit down with some folks and make sure that we are giving actual numbers in relation to return on investment and things of that nature for these sponsors who have expectations.
Awesome. I like that because, that's obviously something I have talked about on here a lot. A lot of numbers do tend to get inflated. And marketing is all about numbers, and sometimes you can get sold a bill of goods. I think some people have in the past with things, and so I respect that, man. And I'll tell you what, and I talk about this a lot on here too, the fishing market is so difficult, and it is a very small pie. And I think you guys are very smart for trying to get outside of that box to sell sponsorships for what you're doing. I think that's, I know that my best sponsors are all non-endemics, every one of them. And it's just that's just an untapped market for the most part.
Well, a big part of our goal is to support the industry and grow the industry. We had a lot of folks discussing, oversaturation. We were on a couple podcasts, and I kept hearing, well, there's just not enough room. You're just going to kill the market. You're just going to take away. We're not trying to take away from anything. We the base format, and we've talked loosely about numbers. I don't remember the exact number Gary Mason quoted as far as college and high school anglers, but I want to say it was somewhere around 40,000 currently. And to have that many anglers, if you divide that in 4 graduating every year, ready to come out looking for a job, and you only got about 500 spots for them to fish in the current organizations the way that they're scheduled, there's plenty of room for everybody. So let's grow this deal. Let's make it good, and let's get some of these other non-endemics spending money in the fishing industry and help support the industry as a whole.
Right. Well, and I've said that, we're selling, because this is something that I've argued on the BPT side, especially because they're like, well, we got the high school and we do this, but at the end of the day, you've only got 80 spots in that no entry fee, the thing that they're selling there. And like you're saying, that there are a lot of people out there that want to fish. A lot of people out there that want to fish. And I think that's evident by, like what Kay Donaldson's done this week. The Alabama Bass Trail Top 100 is sold out. They got some dadgum, pros fishing it, a lot of Alabama hammers too. And people want to fish for big money, and you guys are going to put it out there. So tell me a little bit about, you got $5,000 entry fee, and these are 3-day events, correct?
I'm sorry, you broke up just a bit there. These are what?
These are $5,000 entry fee events,
yes,
and 3-day events, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
the
then
whole field fishes all 3 days.
All 3 days. So everybody's going to get a chance. And then now I did notice. Now, are you guys still making them sign a 2-year contract?
Yes, 2-year contract, option to sign for a 3rd with no requalification.
Okay. And what was the idea behind that on the contract side? Just to kind of
the principal basis for that contract is to ensure those non-endemics that we've got some time to get them their return on investment. That it's not just it's not a pilot per se or anything of that nature in relation to those companies spending their sponsorship dollars.
So by that, you're just saying, we're in this. It's not just an idea. This is a long-term plan we're putting together to make this a household name.
Yes.
I like it. So how many anglers are we up to now?
Well, we've got more than a full field solicited. The most difficult task for us is going through and selecting the anglers themselves. Under contract, we're over 2/3 full. I don't know the exact number as of today. What we're announcing today will be, and don't misquote me if I'm wrong. This is Brad's wheelhouse, but I believe it's 52 as of announced today.
52 anglers. And are you guys going out and seeking these guys out, or are these guys seeking you out? How has the process been so far as picking your field? Because everybody knows, like a lot of guys are either wrapped up on FLW right now, wrapped up in the Elite Series, or wrapped up in BPT. So how is this process going for you guys?
Well, we get a lot of solicitations. We got a lot of solicitations on the initial request, folks that sent in applications and bios, various things, essentially resumes. We have had a lot of folks call and ask from other organizations, and we're not proactively seeking that route. We're not chasing a lot of guys who are wrapped up in other, but we are being cognizant that folks after this year may want to change something. They may want to do something different, and we're all inclusive. If we can schedule around every other organization out there, we'll let other guys fish our schedule. You mentioned the contracts. We do have a contract. If we have, all three of us as owners have said, if we have a guy that is fishing our league and fishing the opens, and he qualifies for the elites, and he can't make both work, we will not pin him to a contract.
Okay.
We will not take his opportunity away. Our goal is to give these anglers an opportunity to make enough funds to go fish for a living. You know how difficult that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
In today's market.
So the plan is 125 boats with this $5,000 entry fee, and I saw you're going to try to pay 50 places. That's the deal?
40 to 44th, $9,000.
44th place, $9,000. Okay.
Is what we've listed out now. Now, as we do add sponsorship dollars in, as that pot continues to grow, the transparency that will be there when we're out selling for sponsorships, it's for payback, it's for infrastructure, it's not for mansions on the hill. And I don't want to make a comment that can get taken out of context.
Like I understand.
Other organizations, but Al, Brad, and myself have all three made a commitment to put back into the organization for the anglers. And then, kind of, for lack of a polished terminology, ours will come later. We are not, if we get a windfall with sponsorship, we will go to the anglers and say, all right, guys, do you want X amount more camera boats, or do you want more payback? I think you know what they'll pick, but, we're going to have transparent discussions with our angler field about, such items.
So you just mentioned something there on the camera boat side. How many cameras are you planning for? Because I saw you're going to have a live commentator, you have live weigh-ins, but will this be something that's online? Are you guys shooting for TV? And how many cameras? Like right now, what's the initial plan? Because look, you're talking about anglers will pick more of a payout than camera guys, and overall they will. But to me, and you guys know me, I'm a marketing dude, and I kind of live in that world. I think more cameras is more better sometimes too, because you have a job as a professional angler other than catching fish. You need to do it on camera sometimes. So what's the initial plan there?
We have a media partner who can field anywhere from 15 to 30 at the drop of a hat. We're probably looking at starting in that 15 range. Don't quote me on that, but it will be somewhere in that ballpark range. The logistics of getting people boat to boat, things of that nature, and having all 3 days allows us to kind of spread the wealth related to cameras and whatnot. But I think we've got a real receptive angler body that if we go to them and say, hey, here's the exposure that we can add for guys based on adding 3 or 4 more cameras here at a time, our anglers have been very receptive to everything that we brought to them and said, hey, this is y'all's choice, guys. I have a feeling we'll get a huge contingency that comes out and says, we do want more marketing, more funding for what we're doing, because they get it.
That's key, man. That is what so many anglers, I feel like, especially young anglers, do not understand about the sport, because we do see the big payouts and you see, things like that, but man, there's so much more to it. And you've lived in this industry, how that is. And so it's definitely important on the media side of it. And A lot of people coming in saying Luke Duncan, the MC for the National Professional Fishing League. Hey, guys, listen, they haven't offered me a contract yet. I'm seeing it a lot in the comments here, Paul. Most tournament organizations don't want to touch me with a 10-foot pole, guys. So don't back Paul into a corner.
Luke, I do not have to check with Brad and Al when I say you are welcome. You are welcome to participate any given time if you want to. When it comes to the contract side, I know how valuable you are and how much you're worth. It just depends on cash flow at that point.
Shoot, man, listen, I'm in for just a damn bologna sandwich and a sweet tea most of the time. We don't even need a contract for that.
We will be eating the same thing and carrying the same thing. So I'll ask the missus to pack double.
Pack two. So, question coming in from Jody Shelton. Jody says, Marshalls or co-anglers? What's the plan on that right now? Marshalls. Okay. Heck yeah, man.
We have nothing against co-anglers. We understand co-angler organizations. We've talked about getting outside the box. I don't know if I'm stepping too far out here, but
you're gonna get in trouble.
Organize. Yeah, I'm good at getting in trouble. But organizing some potential, ancillary team event type deals that would be a lot of that would be a lot of fun. We've discussed everything. So essentially, we sat down and said, okay, this is what we're built on, and this is what we're based on. To date, it does not incorporate co-anglers at this level, but we feel like if there's an opportunity to create a builder system or feeder system that supports co-anglers, we would support that 100%. I've told folks for a long time, if you want to be a professional angler, I get a lot of questions in my day-to-day role at Cashin about a lot of high school guys, college guys. I want to be a pro angler. What does it take? What does it take? What does it take? I tell them, look, the easiest thing you can do is just find a way to rat hole 300,000, 100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that way you're not fishing for a check. But I would start at the opens. I would not go anywhere other than the opens. And I would go as a co-angler. I don't care if you're fishing from the front of the boat for BFLs. I don't care if you want to coast on the home pond or whatever. That's all well and good. You will learn more faster from the opens, fishing from the back of the boat, and have faster success fishing that organization from the back of the boat. Having the maturity to say I need to sit back and watch and learn goes a long way, for longevity.
And I would say the same for the Marshall programs with all these organizations too, man. I think that's a good thing too. And I was a co-angler, right? I mean, I co-angled on the FLW Tour. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was a great learning experience for me and a great time. I mean, I totally agree with you. I tell people the same thing on the Bassmaster Opens. As far as a co-angler like the BFLs, I'm like, I don't know. If you're just starting out, just starting out fishing, tournament fishing, that's a good landing spot for you too. But man, that Bassmaster Open schedule, you get to see a lot of different lakes with a lot of guys that are trying to step up to that top level, and I agree with you on that 100%. So I got a question in here. Jacob James, is it 5 fish? Yes, it is 5 fish. I think I can speak for Paul on that one. It is definitely 5 fish, and the weigh-ins, guys, are really cool. I was reading about this actually when they first made their announcements, but the weigh-ins are going to be drive-through weigh-ins. So you get to bring your truck and boat through, and that is a very, very big deal, for sponsors. So I think that's a cool deal. And I'll tell you another thing, Paul, that I read that I really like, and we got a question about this, so I can address this too. 2 spring tournaments, 2 summer events, and 2 fall events. And I am all for the spread out schedule and showcasing anglers and showcasing techniques during 3 different seasons of the year. I love that. Absolutely love that.
Well, we think it gives an opportunity for a lot of the guys who may not have enough vacation time. We don't want these guys sacrificing family time unless they have to. Look, you've seen firsthand, and and I don't think as an industry we do a great job of showing the sacrifices that Elite Series guys, BPT Series guys. I was in with Jamie Hartman Friday. Jamie Hartman left Arkansas on Wednesday. He will not get back to his house for 3.5 months.
Oh yeah.
So we are trying to create an organization where these guys can go on the road for a week we're gonna try to maintain 30 days between the close events. So essentially 30 days between the spring events, 30 days between the summer, 30 days between the fall. Without knowing everybody's schedule out there, we can't we can't make any guarantees on that. But when we sit down to schedule these deals, that's the kind of mindset that we have. What is the best opportunity for the angler?
Absolutely. I love that. And Rob Jordan coming in, one of my FLW counterparts from the last couple of years, awesome guy on Lake Lanier. He said amen to a spread out schedule. And I'm right there with him because like a guy like Rob is like me, does other things in the fishing industry besides just fish tournaments. And it's nice. I tell you one thing about this quarantine that I've learned is I like being home more than I thought I did. I've been gone so damn much the last few years. I'm like, what's it like being home for 3 months straight without going anywhere? Holy cow, man.
You and I both, sir.
It's been crazy. So speaking of on the schedule, when will we see a schedule announcement?
Everything that we've committed to is fourth quarter of this year.
Okay.
There's a lot of variables to that. We're not. We want to make sure that we're scheduling around everybody else, especially the critical stuff, the opens. We can schedule around the elites. That would be great for us. We've had a lot of folks from other organizations reach out and say, hey, if you can schedule around what I'm committed to now, I'd love to come fish your organization. And we're going to do everything in our power to do that. As you well know, the weekends just run out. It's a little bit easier to do. It's a little bit easier to do late summer and fall. This COVID, I think, will change the fall season a little bit. As a manufacturer, I think that's awesome. We everybody in the fishing industry has a huge downturn from July to say October
no doubt.
Business, and I think that we have to take COVID and look at the positives that have come of it. But third and fourth quarter of this year should be great for a lot of companies.
Absolutely.
So, looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to the fall being, having these major events this fall. I'm pumped about that. I'm a fall fishing nut. I've cut my teeth doing it, and I think it's really cool now on the national level, like especially with the Elite Series going to Chickamauga and freaking Lake Fork. I think those are going to be really cool events to keep up with.
I have a feeling that you might see a little bit more of that in the next few years after the success.
I think so. I think so too.
Which I'm all for. I love it.
So Michael Minnan coming in. Michael, sorry if I butchered your last name, but Michael coming in asking, do you guys plan on going out west at any point?
We are. We have said that one of our biggest commitments is bridging the gap. I had a pretty in-depth conversation with Jamie Hartman about that. Where he was just giving his 2 cents on it and the cost of travel, the cost of practice, and we get that. Let me tell you, there is a sack full of hammers between Arizona and California and Nevada that these guys are chomping at the bit to fish. We've signed some California guys. Chase Colby's one of them that I know off the top of my head. I'm still learning all the guys and where they're from and everything. But we've got some California guys already signed up, and they're willing to come this way for 5 tournaments because we're willing to go that way for 1. We will not be out west year 1 as of right now, but we are. That in turn means we're going out west year 2. So how it breaks down is if you go from La Crosse to say Ray Roberts, somewhere over in that way, Dallas Fort Worth area, over to you can pick Gunnersville, maybe as far as Hartwell, and draw a triangle. We'll be 4 in the triangle, 2 outside of the triangle. So you're going to have some Florida lakes. You're going to have some Northeast lakes, but you will have tournaments out west. That's something that we are committed to, and showing the talent that's out there. What is it? The U.S. Open.
Oh yeah, one of the greatest tournaments. Yeah, it's an amazing event.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing event.
We're all for it.
So speaking of your guys, and I know you got some announcements you want to make, but I want to ask you this: because for years we've seen this dadgum battle between Bass, and it was Bass and FLW for years, and it's hey, Bass is at the top, hey, FLW's at the top. We got the best anglers. Everybody's got the best anglers in the world. Best anglers in the world, best anglers in the world. BPT, best anglers in the world. Where were you guys? Because there are going to be a lot of these guys that the common fan base doesn't know yet, correct? I mean, I think that's fair in saying, and that's not taking a shot at anybody, because I know a lot of your guys that you got, and they're absolute killers on the water. They're stone cold killers. But where will you guys stand, you think, year one? Like, where are you selling this as? Because I think that in our sport, and you'll agree, you're an industry guy just like me, that is where some of the confusion lies with non-endemic sponsors sometimes is what is pro fishing, right? Because we have so many guys that post on their Instagram, yeah, I'm a professional fisherman, and they may fish BFLs. And then you got a guy that fishes the coasters, and he's a professional fisherman. And then you got an Elite Series guy that is actually, and for me, a guy making a living as a professional angler through marketing, through tournaments, what have you, is a true professional, right? I think you would agree with that. So where do you guys stack up, do you believe, in year one?
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go back a year and a half. We can look at the 18 rookie anglers of the year from the Elite Series last year. I can name guys like Lee Livesey, Greg DePalma, Rob Dye, Harvey Horn. You know, I remember whether it was, I think it was last spring when I heard a lot. Who are these guys? Who are these?
Oh yeah, of course.
Who are these? You know, I don't believe any of it. You know, you just talked about Rob Jordan. I promise you, there are people who fear guys like Rob Jordan. You know, they don't want him coming to the Elite Series with the available time and the available funds to spend the time on the water. We've organized what we consider to be professional folks to represent our brand, represent our market, represent our organization, and we continue to do so day in and day out. The fishing, as you well know, it's on them, you know, to put the time in the water. There's no substitute for time on the water. That you go to any PPT, Elite, FLW Tour, any of the organizations, and go to the top tier guys and say, you know, what makes it? You know, it's time on the water, time vested. So these guys will have to put in the time in the water and the work on the lakes, you know, as we announce the schedule and things to make their way. But I don't think anybody will be disappointed with their ability on the water and their ability off the water to represent our industry as a whole, as a professional, which I think is key because we have a very we set the bar pretty high when it comes to sports industries as far as what we require for people to be professionals in what we do day in and day out.
Oh, definitely. Well, and look, a lot of people said that about the Elite Series, you know, last year, because we did see a lot of guys that supposedly weren't household names, even though most fishermen come from like a regional situation where they kick everybody's butt and take names, right? And us that keep up in depth with the industry know these guys way before they get to that national scene. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what shakes out, and I think you guys going to Great Lakes, the guys, if they catch them, and like you said, you hope, and I feel like with the group that you've picked and the ones we're going to get to hear about tonight, you know, as long as they represent you guys, as long as they represent themselves and represent the sport well, you know, we got something else to follow as fans of the sport, and I think that's a good thing. Definitely. So, one question.
We'll put on a good show either way.
Well, all right. So I've got. Let's see. Okay, Ron Hinchcliffe coming in. My man Ron. He's always he's a low lifer, as we call him here on LBL. He says, "Do you have any anglers who will jump into the spotlight like the Johnson brothers have from Canada and BASS? Anybody that jumps out to you right now, Paul, on your list?"
You know, that puts me in a really tough.
I love a loaded question, man.
tough position to put out there, but yeah, I mean, I've got a couple names on the list tonight that I know their abilities, I know where they come from. Some that we have announced before. You know, we've got our personal friend of mine, and he's local to us. Our own John Cox, the other John Cox,
okay,
the original John Cox, as he likes to say. You know, you cut him loose with practice time and everything, he's going to catch fish. Chase Colby from California. I mean, it's really tough to go through the list and you know,
put you in an awkward spot. You can't pick favorites.
Pick out. Well, I've got, you know, I'm I have favorites, and they're all my favorites. It's tough not to respect any of these guys for laying it all out there the way that they are.
Taking a chance on a new deal, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are the real deal in the sense that, hey, they're trusting us as much as we're trusting them to do what they need to do and put in the time. I've watched, the regional tournaments, whether it be Coastas Opens, that, of that nature, and these guys can catch them. We have a lot of guys who, I hate to use the term, were great fishermen, but for whatever reason, life, as you know it, you have kids, you have a job,
things change, yeah.
That change. We have a lot of guys who were very, very accomplished. I'm going to talk about one of them tonight. Very accomplished anglers with a lot of experience who work grew, family grew, things of that nature, and they made the tough decision to give up their dream and focus on family, focus on their company that they may own, run, have wanted to start at a time, and they took that time and invested in their family, did what they had to do, and kids are grown up, kids are graduated from high school. We have a lot of guys that have been high school captains for 4 or 5 years, haven't done any fishing other than coaching, kids, their kids, and those guys are hungry. Like they've been waiting to get back into it for 5 years. Kids are graduated, whether it be high school or college. They're coming out here hungry. So I would imagine to watch for a lot of those guys.
Oh,
they were still
sure.
They were still on the water putting it together. It just wasn't for their resume as much as their kids.
Absolutely. Well, all right. Well, I won't do a drum roll just because I'm afraid I'll mess up my audio because it's already low budget enough. But let's hear it. All right. Let's hear some names. Paul's got some new guys here, and here we go.
Tonight we're going to announce William Fletcher, who happens to be out of Dallas, Georgia. Chris Canute, South Carolina. Matthew Looney, David Bolkins, Billy Klein out of Texas. John Policini, Zach Ferrone, Vincent Melkus, Elijah Wooten, Stu Martell, Mark Collins, Paul Browning, Shane Cole, and Timothy Reams. They're the gents that we're announcing tonight. They're going to be putting a lot of information out on their own pages tomorrow. As you hear us make these announcements, guys, please go like, share, follow their personal pages because we're encouraging these guys to put out the information there first, and then we can share it from that to help grow their brands as much as possible.
Absolutely, and that's a good thing that y'all are, helping the individual angler, not just the organization. That's seems to be the kind of what you guys are rooted in, and as an angler myself, that's obviously a good thing. So does that list that you just named there, that gets us to 52, or you haven't announced all 52 yet?
No. That gets us up to 52.
That's to our 52, and shooting for 125. And like you said, you've got you've got them all picked out, maybe, right?
Well, I saw a question where somebody said, "Are we holding spot? Is the National Professional Fishing
Yes,
League
I saw that one.
Spot?
Yeah, from Tight Lines
For anglers, we're all about transparency. I will not say that we're holding spots. We have enough applications to fulfill a field. We have some tentative commitments from some folks who are partnered with other organizations that we're not in a position to just flatline fulfill. We could grab everybody, fill the field, be done with it, and go up the road. But we want to make sure we're really putting people who are invested in the brand. We've told some younger folks no. We've just said, look, it's take the time to understand. You have young kids. You finances being what they are. We don't want to create a high stress situation for somebody unless we can ensure their success. That's a tough conversation to have with people.
Very tough.
We hope that they come back to us, but transparency being what it is, we do not have a slated amount of spots where we've said we're holding us for this person, or this person. There's a lot of folks that COVID has hit hard where they had a contract. They have said, I'm signing a contract, and then some of their non-endemic sponsors pulled out on them. We have given some of those folks timelines and dates to which we have to work with, but to where we've said, hey, put together what you can put together in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever that date might be. But I would anticipate on seeing a full field sometime in that October range. We're not
okay.
It's not something that we have to do immediately to make it happen. But I think I'm being a little conservative when I say that. But at the same time, we want to give these people every opportunity to put it together and make it work. Those first ones who came to us and got invites, because what we're announcing right now is not an invite. It's actually a signed contract thing.
I got
These
you.
guys are committed.
They're in for 2 years at least, with an option to year 3. Now, what will the requalification process look like?
I will let you know probably next spring.
Okay, all right.
Just in the line of prioritization, we haven't decided that as of yet, and
okay.
that's part of the process by which we're going to involve the anglers as well.
I got you. Well, look, Paul, I'm proud that we got you on, and any of you guys have any questions for Paul, pop them up here and let him know what you think about it. I'm hella bass coming in. What's up, Rich? We talking NFPBL. We are talking that with Mr. Paul Benson, who's also with Cash and Rods. Big shout out to Paul. He's an industry vet, such as myself, and has an amazing beard, I might add. He's a bearded brother of mine.
I'm a young buck, sir. I'm a young buck. I'm a newbie in this. It's only been about 4 or 5 years that I've been doing it.
That makes you a vet.
The fishing, I'll say our industry is an awesome one. If I can rant or ramble just for a minute, it's a very small industry, but we look out for each other. Last night I drove up to Memphis, spent the night with, I'm sure Valerie Dixon and her husband Gaspo.
Yeah.
And Valerie works for essentially a competitor now. But we don't compete. We help each other out. We partner with each other. It's such a small, tight-knit industry that I'm proud to be a part of. And for the most part, our industry runs a clean house, and we hold each other accountable. And I'm very proud to be in the fishing industry because it's booming across the line for most everybody.
Yeah, it's a with all the drama that can happen at sometimes in this industry, it is an amazing place to be lucky enough to make a living in and to work in and get to know folks such as yourself. And hell, we've even got a comment in here about Fat Cat Newton. So, I mean, I would have never known Fat Cat had it not been for the fishing industry. And they're saying he needs to MC the events, and he'd probably do it for 2 bologna sandwiches. I offered to do it for 1. You're going to have to get your wife to make 2 for Fat Cat.
Yeah. Fat Cat's is like a brother. I was real fortunate.
He's the best.
I got to meet him, and he's awesome. Got lots of great guys on my casting team. Jeremiah Eads, just tons of great people who do an awesome job. Counterparts of yours, Brian Stockel and the guys at Ike Live.
Oh, yeah.
Stray Cast, Pat Renwick. Just an awesome industry that we're blessed to work in, and I appreciate them all.
Hey, no doubt. One more question coming in, Paul. Are you guys going to follow the spawn? And I think I know the answer to this, Jacob. I don't feel like they're going to follow the spawn at all because they got 2 fall events, 2 summer events.
I own a jet ski. For the local lakes around me just to keep people from bed fishing. I put on my tiger stripe thong and I go around and I just tear up the banks and leave the fish alone.
Oh, wait a second. So, you said you lost me at tiger stripe thong.
Yeah. If I can keep people from bed, and I'm making a little bit of jest of it, but no, we will not be following the spawn.
Awesome. I like that. Fat Cat Newton coming in better late than never. He said, ask Paul about proper armadillo control.
Negative. There is a very condemning Facebook video out there somewhere. You can go find it.
I saw one of you and Fat Cat last week that I text Fat Cat about that I said was the greatest thing that's happened in the sport of bass fishing in a long time. And if you folks, you need to go look it up. It's on Fat Cat's. I think it might be on the Cash and Rods page as well. I can't remember if it made it to the Cashin' page or not, but I know I saw it on Fat Cat's, and my heart will go on. That's all I'll say, guys.
Love that, dude. It's something special. Just know when you're when we saddle up in the boat, you could be next.
See, I think that's why I've been avoiding any invite to go fishing with you, Paul. I saw that video, but I mean, I'm comfortable with it. Whatever, we can do whatever. Well, Paul, man, I really appreciate you coming on and announcing those anglers and taking a chance on LBL to come on here and talk to these low-lifers about it. And I look forward to talking to you again this fall whenever things are rocking and rolling. Oh, wait, this is a good question. Just before I say goodbye, nets or no nets during the tourneys? Nets or no nets?
I just heard the question. There was a little bit of a delay there. No nets.
No nets. Okay.
Flip them.
Boat flip everything.
Flip them.
Flip them on your casting rod with straight braid. I like it. Well, Paul, I really appreciate it, dude. I hope you guys are taking care and staying safe in all this craziness. And I'll talk to you very soon, man.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing in the industry. Let us know if we can help you in any way.
All right. Thank you, Paul. All right, guys. Paul Benson with the National Professional Fishing League. The only problem I have with Paul is that when you see the video, he just likes Fat Cat a little bit too much. But like I said, I've been trying to get connected with those guys, and they've been trying to get connected with me. And normally, and y'all know this, that watch the show and listen to the show a lot, that I'm a little scatterbrained. And normally I really don't have a set plan for the show until a day or so before, and then I get somebody on last minute. So and then sometimes I do have a plan, so you never know. But it's good to see people that have a plan, and they certainly do. My one concern about what they have going is just the timing. It's such a hard time right now, and I wish those guys luck and getting that off the ground and hope that it turns out just like they want it to. For sure. Thank you, Ron. Absolute home run coming in. Mad reviews. I like no nets. It adds drama when an angler is fighting a fish. Yeah, I'll be honest. Fishing the tour with Marshalls, we had to net our own fish, and I think I would have rather tried to grab a hold of them instead of net. It was just awkward trying to net one by yourself. Let's see here. Not all MLF guys will want to eat crow and go back to bass. Yeah, they could get some MLF guys. We'll see. It's another landing spot. My thing is I like that spread out schedule. We'll see how it shakes loose. I'm excited to hear some sponsor announcements from those guys. And Paul's a sharp dude, and so is Al. I don't know Brad, their other partner. I don't know Brad, but I know Al, and I know Mr. Paul, and I really appreciate him coming on. I appreciate each and every one of you that listen to this every week, that watch this. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I respect and appreciate every single one of you taking time to comment on videos, to send me DMs, to email, and I really appreciate it so much. Big news. So Boats and Pros Carl Jacobson edition is finished. Got to watch it last night, and I'm going to try to drop that this week. Absolutely going to try to drop it this week. My only hesitation with dropping it this week is you got BPT and the Elite Series going on. Lots of things going on. Do you think I should drop Boats and Pros this week? Let me know in the comments before we get off here tonight. Darkness is spreading. Could Darian compete in the National Professional Fishing? No, he couldn't. He can barely compete in the not national and not professional fishing league by himself, against himself. He can barely compete. I think I may want out of, I'm reading comments here. Hope to see some new lakes on this tour. Yeah, that would be cool. I do get frustrated by the same loop of lakes a lot going on all the time. But, guys, I can't tell you. Like I said, here we go. Hell yes, you should drop the new episode. Yeah, I've got it. I've got it ready. Mr. Tanner Lyons busted his butt on it, and I watched it last night, and it's good. I'm not conceited. I don't like bragging on myself in any kind of way or anything I'm a part of. I'm kind of, pick myself apart, honestly, on a lot of things. But It's a lot of fun. It was a good episode. I've watched it twice now. It's long. It's like 42 minutes long, but it's funny. Carl's story is amazing, and I really hope you guys are gonna enjoy it. Drop it tonight. And I'll probably drop it later in the week. Boats and Pros is greater than MLF. I think you guys will enjoy it very, very much. So, working on the next one, getting it scheduled out. I really appreciate y'all. We'll drop it. Probably be around Thursday. That's what I'm looking at. Probably be Thursday. Might even do a premiere and watch it with you guys on here. Darian can't catch fish, so he has to use clickbait titles. Darian's getting beat up on some clickbait titles. I know that. He is. He's killing it on here, though. Make sure, and I know all you guys, if you're commenting, you're subscribed, but make sure you subscribe. Almost to 9,000. And for me, about this time last year, having about 400, that's a big deal to me. So I really, really appreciate it very much so. I'm going to take y'all out tonight because we've been rocking and rolling for longer than I even thought we would tonight. Paul was great, and I was really enjoying the conversation. We're going to take y'all out with a little bit of Biloxi Blues. Remember to always hug your mama. And I appreciate y'all sticking in here tonight, hanging out. And I will see y'all later this week for some Boats and Pros. Thank y'all.
Make it last.